bad judge, but he was an man. But I guess he forgot his values when he became a senior judge in a very powerful court, the United States District Court. We can never let these folks too comfortable in these temporary positions. When I go to Congress, I will say laws that will put in a three-strike rule that says if you do three discretionary abuses of your authority, on the third one, that's your last year of service. And we'll do something, cut your pension in half, you'll be penalized for it. Because they're deliberate attempts. That's why they say it's abusive. That means that they willfully and wanting exercised a power that they had no authority. They had the authority to make rulings that were abusive and manipulated and use authority to make it pass, to deceive you. And that's what we have to stop. So when I put my three strikes in, judges have to do that, will be gone. Because we need justice reform. Is bail reform is he a killer, a murderer, and bail? What do you have, a mind? This is reckless. That's just to get votes. They'll be okay. Listen, go write your vote. If you commit a crime, I'm going to let you out with no bail. So the election is going over me. That's destroying the country and killing off different communities by destroying them. He destroyed the businesses. 20,000 in New York alone. A regular owner working in custom with the mayor. All for personal and profitable gain. That's what they did. That's what they did. And Rob Goodyear's like you, and like once upon a time me when I was in New York. They put my uncle in harm's way. He suffered sickness, infectious disease, and then they stole his pension, his VA pension, his Social Security, and I couldn't hold him to action. The Attorney General, now they're in court. And they said you can't. Yes, I can. If they they're employees of the United States, which is a government of the people, by people, created by the states. The government didn't create itself. It's obligated to polarize, as Justice Sandra Day O'Connor said. And that's what we have to fight for. We have to fight continuously. Continuously, we have to do that. To sit by and watch these crimes all over the place, and arresting women won't wear a mask on a plane, taking handcuffs, or not wearing a mask. That's insanity. But there's no guarantee, and it says it on the box. Don't think that I'm saying this. On the box, the mask does not prevent. It cannot, and they will not sign off on it, saying that it does. What it does do is it stops you from spreading spittle on anyone. That's all it does. That's all it does. But there's no way if somebody has that, or you put here and they got infection, guess what? When you go like this, and I got it, and I go like this, and we touch hands, guess what? You're getting it. More than likely. So the mask is not 100%. It's nowhere near it. What it does do is prevent any saliva from coming out of your mouth. But what it also does is harms you from being carbon dioxide in constantly. And to do that to children with special needs or autism, which you cannot, it crosses the line of the freedom we breathe according to Justice Marshall and the 64 Civil Rights Act, and to the ADA, to block the airway, or to hinder their condition by forcing them to do something that activates their condition. That's not an accommodation. That's a deprivation of service that exacerbated their condition, and we can't do that. You know, that's like provoking a fight and saying, my fault. It is their fault. It is these elected folks. I'm not going to say the government. Government is our government. So we something need to say that it's ours, and we need to take it back. And we need to take it back and put good governors, good mayors, good president. We need people that understand they have duty in that office. And it's not to self-serve, but to publicly serve. And to humble yourself in the privilege of being a civil servant. You know, what you're seeing now is arrogance and abuse of position. And we can't tolerate that. We should never tolerate Here are things that we can do better. We can always do better. But anybody can do worse. We got to stop that. That's the thing. We got to stop the systemic problem of assholes. That's what we got. A systemic problem of buttholes. Okay? My brother used to say opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. That's the truth. But we need really good people to step up and run for office. And
that too. We had one after the other. One was insane, and the other one is just not paying attention. I think part of it is that he's older and he's not thinking things through. He's not sitting with his people.
Who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Joe now. But
Sleeping.
When Trump was in office, he just didn't listen to anyone anyway.
Oh, yes.
We went from bad to kind of getting worse. I think when we had that great president, there were so many good hopefuls that should have stayed the amount of time and ended up in the fight. Joe is good. I like Joe personally, but this is a dangerous time, and he took over at a very dangerous time, and he made promises that he sought to keep that was not reasonable. And pulling us out of Afghanistan, I agree, that was the worst decision ever in the history of
the country.
Even the crazy man wouldn't have done that. And
what does that say? What does that say he is? What does that say he is?
I just want to say one thing, Dougie.
Say a lot of things, John.
Say a lot of things.
Don't get me going. We'll be on here for 3 hours. No, Dougie, you just said that he took over a dangerous time. Okay? 4 years that Trump was in, what was dangerous? You give me one incident that was dangerous.
Besides the fact that that almost everything that every tweet that he would start a tweet.
Forget about the tweet. No, forget about the tweets. I'm talking about physical stuff that he did was dangerous. Not one missile was fired in 4 years. Not one American.
No, you're right.
Everybody slept peacefully at night. That guy had the whole world in peace. He was even starting peace treaties in the Middle East, which was unheard of. Please don't stick up for Biden, because Biden is the biggest traitor this country ever had. Please, Dougie, look at it. Look at it. Do you actually think?
Turned on the military. He turned on you military boys.
I'm not. Like I said, I'm not. At this point, I'm not pro Biden. I'm military, so of course I'm not happy with Biden at this point.
Dougie, wait a minute. Just listen to me. Do you actually think that person, Biden, was eligible enough to run for the presidency of the United States? His wife knew he wasn't. Every single one of them Democrats knew he wasn't, but they still put him in. They cheated to get him in because they wanted power. That is the fact. Okay.
You mean capable of serving, right, John?
Destroying the whole world. Everybody in the world, it's ready to erupt because of this idiot. He's an idiot. Oh, I get so mad. Especially being a military person. I get so angry what this is doing to this freaking country of ours. Okay? Don't get me started because I go nuts. I like a... Oh.
We want everybody to know that everybody loves each other here.
You see what he did when they come with the military people, the soldiers that died, looking at his watch 13 times for everybody that came off that plane, looked at his watch. Please.
that,
If you were standing there, you were the father, one of those persons that came off that plane wrapped in a flag, and he looked at his watch, how would you have felt?
I wouldn't be happy.
You're damn straight.
I would have bitch slapped him. He would have got bitch slapped right by me. I would have went right up to him and said, "What are you doing?"
The sooner the people realize what this guy is, the better off the whole world is going to be.
So you meant, John, what you meant of capable of serving, because you didn't. So people hear he was not qualified medically, mentally capable.
No way.
Right?
Never
No
was.
way. He was not. No way. He was no medic.
Name me one thing he did in 50 years.
Look
One thing.
Exactly.
Except get rich.
Know what the thing is? You know what the thing is? All of these guys, whoever they are, have an opportunity to do something great. They have an opportunity to do something great. And know what pisses me off? When you've been given this opportunity, even though it was illegitimate and there was voter fraud, and we know it, it's there. It's been going on for years. Even if it's in small amounts everywhere, it's fraud. Fraud is fraud. If it's one more. Every year it'll be more.
We don't get that.
We can never agree with fraud.
What just happened in California is telling us something. We're in trouble, okay? There's no way that guy should have got recalled. What's happened in California, okay? So you know damn self there was something going on over there too.
No doubt.
Larry Elder was the man to be put in that position right now, okay? To straighten out that state.
Hey,
all
Dougie,
right? We're in trouble. They're still cheating, and they're going to cheat in 22. Okay, they know.
Dougie.
What do you
How you feel about Nancy Pelosi?
Wait a minute. You got me going now. Biden goes there. Biden goes there. Okay, to California with Harris, Kamala, whatever the fucking name is, Kamala Harris, and all the rest of them idiots. All right.
Camel toe.
Never mind. Still in Afghanistan, and they're dying and getting tortured. Okay, he's over there trying to put this idiot back into office who destroyed California. Okay, please, people. Get smart. Don't be stupid and follow these idiots. It's ridiculous. Okay, so we better buckle down and we better have armed guards at those damn ballots in 2022 to keep these idiots from doing this bullshit treating. Okay,
I refuse to lose in 22.
We're in big trouble, and if we're in trouble, the world is finished. Okay, it's finished. It's ready to explode. Don't even get me going on this Green New Deal crap, okay? Okay.
That's why I love this show so much, because this is a great forum. I love it. And when me and Darren first talked about it, we sat down, me, him, Sean. We had a lot of fun thinking about what would really happen, and it's amazing the amazing stuff that you guys do on this show. I love you guys. Your energy is amazing.
I'm just telling you my feelings, you know.
We're passionate.
And that's what bugs out YouTube about this show, is that there's such amazing commentary by both sides. And
let us hear from our Madam Chief today, because she hasn't spoken. She's had a bad morning. I told everyone of her bad day. She lost her kitty of 16 years. It's very difficult for pet lovers out there. You all know what that's like. We all are animal lovers. They become part of the family. And all the controversy in the world.
You're going to make me cry.
I know. But I'm gonna wipe your tears. I got you. I'm right here.
I'm share with you too, Shannon, because I know the heartache.
I know how you feel, honey. And we had to.
I got a hug for you.
Yes. Where'd you go?
Okay, I got a phone call at that moment.
Okay. So Shannon had some challenges, and in all of this time and all the controversy that's going on in the world, a reckless, ruthless president who arms terrorists to kill Americans, who let 14 servicemen and women, young boys and girls, in the beginning of their life, get murdered by terrorists by taking an exit plan that was not a plan. You got a general that, I don't know, he don't know his ass from his elbow, or it's part of a coup to take away the authority of the American people. In all of this, our pets love us, and they stay dedicated to us, and they don't care what's going on around. They don't care for Joe Biden. They don't care for Nancy Pelosi, Jerry Nadler, Shifty Schiff, Como. Names, they're all Democrat. Okay?
No, they're not. No, they're idiots. Don't even go.
Oh, no,
Democrats.
they're not dumb. They were pretty smart to fool all of us. Hey, you
No,
got to
they
give
didn't
them
fool us.
credit.
They didn't fool us. They're just in a position to be able to fool us. Okay,
Well,
we're
then,
not.
then the folks that have voted them in, they got to take their heads out of their ass, because if they're sitting back, whether you're Democrat or Republican, they murdered your family in that nursing home. That's what he did. There's no way around it. I am the #1 advocate in the country, and that's what he did. He did it. He violated their constitutional rights. They were protected under the 14th, and throughout the Constitution talks about our life, our liberty, and our property. He came against it like forget about it. It was just disgraceful, and they're dead. And this holiday coming, they won't be here for their family. Hospitals were just as reckless, putting infected people next to uninfected people. These are doctors, for Christ's sake. The doctors didn't do it. The administrators of the hospitals did it because they would get $32,000. This became a business. This became a business. But the thing that gets me most, and then I'm going to hear from our Madam Chief here. I want to hear her thoughts. I give her time to come back after that deep emotion I lost today of her kitty. You know, there were veterans, homeless, that died out of 67,000 homeless New Yorkers that were on the street, that they went into mass graves without a final farewell. That son of a bitch is going to pay, and I'm going to make him pay. I will get and fight for those homeless, disabled veterans and posthumously, and I will win. Because when they say you can't fight posthumously, bullshit. Because they had a disability. I'm the national advocate. I had an organization. Because the purpose of being an advocate for one who cannot defend themselves is to be a friend to the court, to be the voice of the person who was silenced by their disability. These were good men and women that fell on hard times and PTSD, a recognized disability globally, nationally, is all that matters for us, for our Constitution. It is a qualifying factor that qualifies you under the ADA. I will use every power or resource or get people together, and we will fight for those veterans, and I will pin him up. And if I could put a noose around his neck, I'd do it myself and pull it. I'd pull the rope. I don't want nobody to come in. They don't have to put empty or put them in the firing squad. They don't have to make blanks in some guns. Listen, I'll shoot for everybody. Load up all the guns and I'll shoot one at a time like this. Boom. And I want real live ammo in all the guns, because when they do firing squad, they only fill like 2 guns. I want them all full. I want to make sure he's done. We got to make sure, because that kind of individual does not belong in this country or society. He ruthlessly took the life like Hitler did when he threw Jewish women into the furnace. That's what he did. He threw sickness into a nursing home that suffocated the elderly. That's what he did. You want to hear it? Now I'm telling you what he did. And I'm going to get him by his little short hairs, and I'm going to make him pay. And I'm going to make him a spectacle for all to see. He's a piece of shit. And he's a disgrace to all Italian Americans. Because if anything about Italians, we're very loving, caring, and compassionate. He didn't demonstrate that here. It was said by the CDC. Everybody's giving kudos to CDC. CDC said that vulnerable should not be in contact. What did he do? He put them right where they were. What do you call that? That's a criminal act. High crimes and misdemeanors. He needs to be punished. Punished. I'd like to kick him all the way up the street. And then bitch slap him. And then he goes and rapes 11 women. Are they thinking about impeachment? Really? Are you kidding? Then you got the other reckless guy on the street joining up with protesters and defacing the city. You don't do that. You don't destroy property to join up with people. Listen, people have a right to voice their opinion, but you have no right to destroy any public property. None. It belongs to all of us. A group of us can't say, well, it's part of mine, I'm going to destroy it. No, it's for the common, which is all of us, for us to learn from it and grow from it. You don't destroy it. Without a past, we can't have a future. We have to have a direction. We have to know that this guy was a dirtbag. Even if Christopher Columbus had slaves, that's not relevant to what we did look at that we made better use of. We made better use of it. That's how we grow. That's how we stay away from separation. This is how we get united from the mistakes. We don't destroy them and let's start again. We don't do like Ilhan Omar and AOC and then let's rewrite the Constitution. Go fuck yourself. We're not doing that. We ain't doing that. And anybody that thinks they can do that is going to have a problem with patriotic Americans.
Well, let's say you're walking through a park, okay, and once stood a statue.
Am I armed at this time?
No. Just you're walking through a park with your grandchildren,
yes.
And there once was a statue standing in this particular spot,
right?
And it just has the little name tag on the bottom, like the plate, okay. And the child asks you, what's that? You said, well, you can't answer him because the statue isn't there anymore. So let's say Christopher Columbus, just for example, okay? Then you could tell your child, look, this is the person that was known to discover America, and you sailed on the Nina the Pinta Santa Maria, or to America, all right? But he also did this. With that statue not being there, right. you can educate right. that child either way, right. Okay? Right. So if there's a statue up there and you're offended by it, you don't look at it. You don't read it.
You can't erase the past.
Just walk
away.
Erase it. Okay. Exactly. It's not hurting you. It's not taking its concrete arm and beating you on the head. That's all it is. It's a representative of something that from the past. That's all it is. Okay. You walk by the Empire State Building. Would you want that torn down?
Of course not. It's a good thing. I mean, the people that were against this, or groups, radical groups, people jumping in and hijacking legitimate protests like they did to capitalize, to compromise the election. That all it was. It was a ruse. I'm a street kid. I know bullshit when I see it.
That's their 15.
You don't fool me. I grew up in East Harlem. I know what gangs are. I know what gangsters are. And I know what bullshitters are. And that was a lot of bullshit because you had people yelling Black Lives Matters and you had bound paid off white guys leading the march to destroy property. Those were Democrats, fueled by Democrats, destroying the integrity of the character, what we fought for in the 64 civil rights. It destroys the character because it makes up the African American to be a destructive person. That's what they did. That's what they did. Okay, they sat and you know how much we went through? All of us in civil rights? How many lives were taken in fighting for something that was genuine and real? That is the foundation of this country? And then these guys hijack it and make it look like it's a criminal group. That's what they did. They could say whatever they want, but that's what they did because they killed their own. You understand, like Italians, when they kill their own, they call us gangsters. We do. You know why? Because they broke an oath. We keep it within ourselves. We control our own. What they did here, they let a boy die that got shot. They wouldn't let the police get him out and save him. That was just reckless. There was nothing that you had other African, Black Americans stand up for what the fuck is going on. You don't do that. You want to make a statement? We put the friggin' thing. Okay, Christopher Columbus did this, but here's what else he did. We add another plaque to it and say he was a douchebag. He did a good thing, but he was a dirtbag. That's okay. That's okay. That's where the freedom of speech comes in. Okay, we want history to tell the truth. We're upset that you're praising. Okay, I get that. Let's say this other truth.
I'm with you on that. I think that them removing the statues isn't really what they should do. What they should do is, if you want to add to the discussion, add to the discussion.
That's right. That's right.
Don't. If you take away the statue, you take away the comment. You take.
That's right.
What used to be here?
Whatever you erase, you can't erase it. It happened.
Yes, it's history.
So, but moving it and taking it out of sight for me is infringing on my belief in it. You know what I'm saying? That's what the 64 civil rights was about. It was about all of us. And they were casting out a group of folks that enough was enough. And then Johnson signed it into law. And it was just too much. It was wrong. It was wrong what they were doing. It was wrong because you had those crazy ass hillbillies with them hoods and all that crazy shit going on, burning, hanging.
I got to give you I know we're running out of time, but I want to give you a perfect example of what.
Then I want to hear from Shannon.
Oh yeah, I want to hear from Sharon too. But have you ever walked Central Park? You ever seen the movie Balto? Okay, the Dougie, you know what I'm talking about. Balto was a cartoon of the dog that was in Nome, Alaska in 1914, I think, or 1912, around it. Something. Anyway, he went to get the medication to save the children in Nome, Alaska. Now, they came out with a movie called Togo, okay, with William Defoe, okay? The true story of really what happened. This dog, Togo, you like animals, you watch that movie, Togo. It's unbelievable. Now, Togo was the one dog who really did what they said Balto did. Balto was the last dog to do the last run, okay, with the medication. But Togo was the one that went through all these horrible things to get this medication over to these children. Okay, I think it was diphtheria or something like that. Anyway,
yeah.
now they got a statue of Balto telling this. Okay, now what we're trying to say with these statues. Now they should put up a statue of Togo right next to him, because now there's a different conversation. Okay, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, this is the real versus this is what he was kind of based on.
Right, exactly.
Sure.
I lost your audio.
Okay. How about now, my
Shannon.
Shannon? And now we
Yes?
hear from Madam Chief. How's it look? We're cooking turkey for all of you. I felt like turkey, and I made this. I was telling Shannon yesterday, I made a new chutney. And I'll tell you quick before the chief speaks. I made this chutney. I was telling Shannon, she says, ooh, that sounds good. I took blackberries, right? Blackberries, raspberries, dried up cranberries, pineapple, brown sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, regular sugar. I cooked that up a little bit, and now I got this beautiful chutney. I usually make it with cranberries every year and pineapple, but this way I said, I had an urge for turkey. I'm feeling very festive now. At this time of the year, after 9/11, I get a little sad, but then to cheer myself up, I do holiday things, I was going to put this over there because I got these dueling banjos that are skeletons. You saw me in the store, right, Sharon? It's behind the skeletons in the store, remember? And
Yes.
I got them there, and they play banjos. They're skeletons. They do dueling banjos. So I get very festive. Everything's set up for Halloween, and even though it's a bad day, Christians really don't celebrate Halloween. It's Halloween, but I do it for the kids and candy. So I made a turkey today, a small one, 12-pound, and it's cooking now. And I made this chutney because that's great. And now I'm going to make some Brussels sprouts and asparagus. I do private cooking, if at your request. I was a private chef. I would go to the house, go to people's houses and cook for them. And it was very expensive, $500 to $1,000 for a couple of hours to cook for you, like the meals down Reyes. And look at that mask. So Shannon, we have waited for you throughout this show. And we hope, there he is. And there's Dougie Mask. He went from Dougie Fresh to Dougie Mask. And we've been waiting to hear from you and your thoughts and what's going on this past week. You had an exciting week, I understand. So let's hear some of that excitement, my dear.
Where do I even begin?
I don't know. Let's hear it.
I mean, I think I should just start, since I'm in something of a somber mood right now.
Okay.
And reflective. I should probably just start with some of the questions that I received that we're talking about.
Go ahead.
So I have a question here, and the person didn't really want to be identified, but asked me to ask on the show.
Okay.
And basically said, do we have a right? Is there a right to stop the mandate under the Constitution, and under what authority would that be?
And that's the mask mandate?
The mandates, I guess the pandemic in general, but we could talk about the mask.
They're referring to, it would be fair to say that the person is referring to the liberty restriction of an activity that is protected under the 14th Amendment. It goes under the Civil Rights Act of 64, which you and me both looked at. Me and Shannon were looking at it, and Shannon's still stuck on Justice Marshall's free air opinion. and he is absolutely correct. And Shannon does a good job at doing research with us as well. Well, yes, there's the existence of mandates are not laws. The Constitution is the law of the land. And now it depends. Now, the states under the color of law, nothing supersedes the Constitution. Nothing. There is no law above the law. And a state has a limited authority as long as it doesn't infringe upon the right of the citizen or a group of citizens or a class of citizens, that it can cause harm, like mask mandates for the disabled community with respiratory or minor children. Justice Marshall said, for those who got arrested, for folks like you who were arrested, who have a condition that cannot read it, Doc will confirm, you have a right to continue to breathe that free air and cannot be penalized for it. And there is no law that is above your freedom. Freedom is a right. It's an American right established here in America by the founding fathers as a paramount of all of our life, liberty, and property. Life was first, okay? The liberty, the freedom to do so, and anyone who infringes, they couldn't take your property. So, yes, you have an absolute right. So when you get to the disabled, it interlocks with another statute. It's the protective measure. Able bodies have it too. But the disabled, and justifiably so, have that additional sovereign protection that they call an interlocutory statute, that it joins it and enforces it more because a protected class of citizens, right? If it would have affected color, because, you know, if it would have...
I have another question about that.
Okay.
Does the Civil Rights Act only apply to some Americans and or to everyone?
It is afforded to everyone. What it did was strictly, not strictly, it mainly covered the challenges of Black Americans for their color, but it expounded. You understand? It was a good way. You see, when the architect of it, Martin Luther King, went out, his argument was the greatest of all. He showed you that he wasn't biased. He was pointing out that the color of one's skin does not change the character of who they are, and they should be entitled to the same freedoms. He was talking for the disabled before they were even spoken for. That's what he was doing. He was saying, it's not what we look like that makes us who we are.
I just want to say that
this, in our character.
So the Supreme Court has made a lot of rulings that basically says that the Civil Rights Act only applies for racial issues. When I found that out, I was really surprised, because I was wondering, how can they decide if something's racial? That means, do they have to look at skin color and how deeply you're colored? Or, you know, once you start doing that, then aren't you getting right back into the same issue? That isn't it self-defeating? I mean, isn't it basically saying if we only look at racial issues, then the Civil Rights Act forces us to look at race again and make a decision based on race?
The civil rights is from soup to nuts. It covers women's right of voting, LGBT, religion.
Well, there are a lot of people. I'm just saying, like Lucas Wall, the gentleman whose court case I'm now involved in as a plaintiff, he said, no, you can't apply, 2000, it's under the Civil Rights Act, like section 2000, which is after 1983, 1985, you know what I mean? So 2000 basically says that a place cannot discriminate against someone based upon race. And he said, well, no, that's it only, but he says that it does not apply to disability. It doesn't say disability, therefore it doesn't apply to disability or anybody else. It's only for race, religion, and this other.
Absolutely wrong.
Absolutely wrong.
He is wrong.
So he refused to put it into the case because
you don't have to listen. That's why I told you that you have to be the sailor of the ship. You understand? Yep.
But I mean, I do think that the Supreme Court, is ruling in that way on these cases and setting precedents.
The Supreme Court will rule on the absence of your pleading. You have to plead it and show the association. That's what I've been doing for decades, showing the relationship of the statute to the individual. Your
Okay.
job, Shannon. Your
Then
job is to
another
make it work.
question is it okay for the DOJ to tell disabled Americans that they cannot fly without a mask or without a support animal, or that they shouldn't fly if they
No,
don't wear a mask?
the DOJ does not interpret the law. The DOJ is the enforcer of it. Advocates like me are the true enforcers. Do you understand? That's why it goes to court. It's because Justice Sotomayor said to me, I sat with her for a half an hour talking about this subject. She said to me, it is difficult for us for this reason. It is vague. The law is vague on the ADA. And I said, Madam Justice, and I think I told this story. I said, Madam Justice, may I say something? With all due respect for her, even though she's Democrat, we're Americans in a room with our respective beliefs of the freedoms, and she was a challenged Puerto Rican, so was I, and an Italian, so was I. What she said, and I said, I disagree. I said the simple wording, the simple language, because the folks who wrote it up were not disabled. There was a disabled man there when it was signed with Bush. There were two disabled folks in a wheelchair for photographs, for photo ops. But the writing and drafting had to be vague because the architects were not disabled. That's why later that I argued dyslexia is an effect of a mental effect. But it was just the description of what you was doing, but not the words. So if the words are not there, it appears that there's no protection. But the description gives the protection. That's the vagueness. And I said, Madam Justice, the word facilitate, accommodate, warranted are the key phrases in the law. Warranted talks about the condition, that the condition will show the warranted need. Accommodate is the rule. Facilitate means provide. It's not giving anybody a way out. What it's teaching folks, all right, you will show me by your condition how these things apply to you. That's your job. Your job is to prove how this affords you the right. That's what I do. When we argued your case, Shannon, and I told the judge, you didn't get to sit in there for that, but I said, you should have been there for that. You would have loved that moment. That was a good moment to be in the room. When I said, this case don't belong here. She has a condition. She didn't want to wear a mask. This is a mask. That ain't trespassing because she couldn't wear a mask. She can't wear a mask. If you force her to wear a mask, you're suffocating her. I said, this is a frivolous case. And we're going to see this through, and I'm her advocate. Judge said, okay, Mr. Quino. And then they brought him in, and we talked about the medical condition on the side. And she had the DA there. He shouldn't have been. In camera means me and her, because I'm not a party to the action. I'm an advocate, advocating her position to say in private, it is a right. It's not a question. So Justice Mayor told that. Go ahead, next question.
All right. So should the CDC become our new governing authority?
No.
Why
No.
not?
Why not? The CDC is an independent company. They have no authority. What they have is some specialties, in testing, but they're not a government entity. And we didn't elect them to the government to be a part of the government. They're a reporting agency, like I'm a reporting advocate. My authority is greater than theirs. They're a company. I'm a citizen. Your citizenship is greater than their entity. You have to realize you are the entity of the government of the United States as a citizen. You are the boss. You are the big dog. You have to learn how to act like it. Americans need to stand up and act like who they are. Proud Americans with a duty and a purpose. And that purpose is not to be reckless, but to be mindful of others and to give your input and best knowledge and contribute to the betterment of this country. That's what we're supposed to do. Okay? But the Sovereign Civil Rights Act has just been amended several times. Okay? It covers all. The category, it's the oppression or the suppression of a circumstance that raises the Civil Rights Act. But it was such a heinous act to kill, abuse a person for the color of their skin, that it got most of the headlines. How many people look at Willowbrook? Willowbrook, John remembers Willowbrook, right, John? Pizza, Willowbrook, the mental institute in Staten Island that abused all of the mentally ill children. It was the worst crime in the city and state of New York. Governor Mario Cuomo was governor. They settled with them. Those children today.
You just went you just muted yourself. I cannot hear you.
Now you can. I hit the key. Well, Willowbrook was the worst in the history of New York, where now today they're in their 70s. Some have passed. The abuse to these kids, they were sitting in their own feces. They were naked. Geraldo Rivera did the story, and I was with him at the funeral for Wen Jiao Lu and Officer Ramos, the two police officers killed in their vehicle. And I told him, I says, you know, I'm representing a woman. It's on Facebook. It's with me and Joel. The picture of me and that woman and Joel, she is the victim of Willowbrook. She was beat up with a chair in Riverdale, in the Bronx, Revere House by Castle Hill. They beat her with a chair. Beat her with a chair. And the brother was beside himself. I went there with the police, an advocate. They didn't want to let me in. Went back with the cops. Arrest her. Abuse her. Now, covered up. They covered up. And this is what happens. So you see, what happens to African Americans and disabled, which you saw the suffering in the home, the people that couldn't do anything for themselves or had a stigma over them, government people or assholes take advantage of them. And that's what happened. But smart America, the will of the true people of this country, know that equality is for everyone and not some, for all. Equality is entitled to all. Martin Luther King made the best argument. He's my hero. He is the greatest spokesperson. He had his own skeletons. He was out there having affairs with women. He was doing dirty. He was doing the nasty, but we don't tear him down. You know what I mean? We don't tear Martin Luther King statue down. He did the dirty, but so, you know, he was out there. I mean, Hoover had tapes on him having sexual affairs, and he was a reverend. But he was a good man. Your own personal shortcomings of that. Go ahead.
I have to get going, Darren. Soon here, I've had someone calling me.
Okay.
There was something that was asked about you personally in your organization here. Wondering if you're still. Hold on, let me find it here.
Okay.
Where was it? It had to do with Code Magazine affiliation. And then another question was, what are your top platforms that you're running on in your campaign? Okay.
No, we're not Code Magazine. Code Magazine was a collaborator with me. I am the creator of Code Wind Talk. I am the creator of the magazine with my partner and affiliates. And now the other members, like yourself, have joined to be part of this platform I designed. John is a co-partner to it as well. But when it started, I created it. Carl put us with Triple Vibes so that we can air the show. After I terminated Carl at the fiasco that we had in June 16th, which you were there, Dougie was there, John was there, where he destroyed the integrity of what the magazine was about, what Code Wind Talk was about. We took it upon ourselves, all of us, that we were going to team up together to keep the joy of this creation that I made, my creative art expression, along with, he's not the owner of the Last Goodbye or any of the production. That's me, John, and Dave Kaltenbeck to bring it into the movie. That's us exclusively. We did the creative works to it and to go forward, to bring it into a mini-series. That's what I wanted originally.
Are they involved in your campaign? That's my question.
They are not involved in the campaign. It's all of us. It's only Americans. I don't let, we are fighting for our lives right now. And my platform is the same as last campaign. Our civil rights, our veterans, our health care, our farmers' rights, because we got farmers here in Florida. I move with the flow of the need of the people. I'm an American. I care about our veterans. Dougie knows that for years. John knows that. That's what I do. I fight for the disabled. So our civil rights, more than ever, And I said this in my last campaign before COVID. How right was I to bring up the civil rights on the top of my platform? Because I saw it coming. Do you know why? Because of the struggles with African Americans, for the disabled, for LGBT. Look, people are just people. Everybody has a shortcoming. Everybody's got a skeleton. We're not perfect. But here's what we are. We are free Americans. That's what we are. We are free to make these choices. We're not free to, I'm not free to disrupt Dougie's life or John's life or your life. I'm free to fuck up my own life. That's what I got the freedom to do, not to intrude on yours. So if we can all understand that and we can get together, we can have a good government that listens to our voice, but we have to be the masters of our future and our destiny. And that
We have
means
to
making good
unite.
choices.
We
Huh?
got to put differences aside, and we've all got to be able to
Absolutely.
come together.
That's what me and Dougie talk about. But the thing about this show is you get to be heated in your expression because that's a human instinct. We are human. We have dislikes and we have likes. We're not challenging anybody's opinion. We're just finding an argument to disagree with. We argue to agree to disagree. And that's nothing wrong with that. That is the American way. Because the thing that we learn from that is that we do learn from other people's argument. We do learn. You could never learn too much.
Which is
There's
why they
always
shouldn't
room
be
for knowledge.
censoring doctors who are giving other sides of the story
Oh, yeah, they're
about the
censoring.
COVID
Hey, they censor me every
vaccines
day on
and the
Twitter.
masks. And they change the story day by day, the science on the story of what kind of masks are effective, how to wear them, when to wear them, whether they stop you from getting enough oxygen or not, whether there's asbestos or some kind of toxins in the mask paper that come from China or not. And they don't test those things, and whether the swabs that they stick up your nose go into your, past your brain barrier or infect you or something like that. And they don't talk about the ineffectiveness of the tests that they have and how they make papayas and sheep and water come back testing positive.
I wear a material mask if I need one. If I go into a place where I have to wear it when I enter and then I can sit down and take it off, I wear a material one. I don't get it from any.
They just published scientific articles saying that those are not effective anymore. In order to be protected, you got to wear a different kind of mask now. Did you know that? It's just
You
recently.
know what I tell them? I go like this. I flip them the bird and say, you wear it. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm still a free American,
And
and
we
I
got
don't.
airlines who are kicking mothers off with their toddlers having actual active asthma attacks, even though she's forcibly putting a mask over his face so he cannot breathe. They're still making them get off of the plane. Is that legal? These kinds of things.
It is not
When
legal.
are we going to
It is
stand
not-
up?
It is not legal. What it is, here's what it is. It is the opportunity, although heartache, it is the opportunity to address it in the high court. It doesn't go to state court. It goes to district court of the United States because the
The
infringement,
district
it
courts
goes,
are forcing masks, however.
not mine, because
Not in
I
yours,
said at
but
the
that's
beginning,
the problem, that it's arbitrary and capriciously being
Well,
enforced.
here's
In
what you
mine,
got.
they are.
Here's what you got. You got two criminal parties. You got criminals in good parties. Democrats were good, Republicans were good. But the ones in leadership are criminals. So they're fighting each other at the
I agree
expense
with
of the
that.
American people. That's what they're doing. So what happens is they're trying to rally behind the leadership to put mandates. The other group is saying this, but you, the American people, are not speaking to your elected congressman, telling them what they're going to do. Go to the floor when you go to work tomorrow, and you go tell them we're not wearing masks. That's what you got to go do.
When is enough going to be enough? When will the people decide to finally say, no, we're not going to take a vaccine for this job?
I say that's going to happen in the next couple of months, where guns are going to come out and we're going to start overthrowing government offices to take them back for the people. That's not going to be insurrection. That's constitutional direction. Don't confuse the two. Any unlawful act that's trying to do something outside of the parameters of the Constitution, that's unlawful. That would be a criminal insurrection. Taking back your government is a duty. It tells you to remove this criminal elected individual who's perverted the civil liberties and freedoms of Americans. That's right, the Constitution, the United States Constitution. So do we have to do this? Is that going to happen?
No.
Yes.
Darren,
Was
people
the
need to
Washington
know.
an insurrection? No.
People need to know that if they don't know what their rights are, then they have no rights whatsoever. You can't invoke something
You don't
that
know.
you do not know. So everybody should get
That's
an
why
own little
Wall, that's
constitution
why
and learn.
Wall, that's why the lead plaintiff in the argument that you joined, your argument is good. His argument has got error. But it's a good opportunity for you to embrace your argument and expound on your argument and show the relationship by restriction, that they had no right to restrict you, and that their mandate falls outside the scope of right.
We
Your
hold
right.
these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights.
Certain
That
unalienable rights,
among these are life,
liberty, and property.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which
Well, property as well, which is property.
that's from
Oh,
the
man.
Declaration.
Yes, that's right.
That
And those
to
are
secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. The
That's
governed consent.
us.
We consent to them governing this way.
Right.
Or
And
not.
if we don't consent, it gives you another alternative. To take them by the seat of their pants and throw them from the office, to change the guard for the future security of the nation.
And that's right here. It says, but when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing and meriting
against the very same object. It is our duty. It is our right to change the guard. Yes, it is.
This is a design to reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards.
You heard what it said?
For their,
throw off.
For what? For their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies. So we suffer patiently. And such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present king is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states.
And that's where we are right now.
To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. We now need to begin submitting the facts.
No, hold on. It has to come under that. So what you need to do, Shannon, you know what? It's a good thing. Type up that piece in a text to me, like that portion, the right, or shoot it in a, so that when we put it out there, we could shoot the page, put it out there, and then put under the tweets and on the Facebook. This is where we are. Here it is. This is what's being done. What are the facts? 22,000 murdered in a nursing home.
Each point that they list as facts, and this is like
those are facts.
This is like a redress of grievances, which we are not being permitted to.
Send me the copy of that page. Send me the copy of that page.
We're not being permitted to redress our grievances right now before the courts. We're being.
They're just they're right, but you see the argument.
They are shutting us down. Okay, that's what.
When you go to appeal, look, you got to go to the 11th Circuit. I know how to fight the 11th Circuit. The 11th Circuit jumped in already. 11th Circuit's watching the game.
Access, not just to the 11th. Everybody needs access.
I know, but I want access to the old court. So I told them I want
access to my court where they said you have to wear a mask.
Yeah, well, they don't tell us here. We don't got to wear it.
Well, they're telling me where I'm at, and that means that it's arbitrary.
Kentucky. Those hillbillies down there are controlled by Democrats.
Listen, it's happening in Oregon. There's
Democrats.
Hillbillies, okay?
Where the Democrats are.
Okay, look, most of the Democrats are not hillbillies, right?
Not most of them.
Then why are you saying hillbillies when most of them are not?
Well, you got a lot of hillbillies down south that are Democrats.
Why do you always say hillbillies? Do you want me to start, saying things that are pejorative about people from up north? Do you want me to do that? I don't think it's fair and you're going to isolate people.
Listen to me. Do you understand? They have certain beliefs. And that's why those radical crazies put on hoods at night.
Listen, they do. I'll tell you something. Oregon and the West Coast was one of the main strongholds of the KKK. All right, I've looked into the history of it. They used to not even allow Black people there now. And if you want to look at the demographics, Oregon has one of the worst statistics and backgrounds on diversity ever, and yet they go around acting. They do the exact opposite of what they say. They claim. They say, "Oh, we're all about diversity," and they get their little bumper stickers that they slap on their Evolvos, and they go driving around like in their hippie,
They got bobos.
and smoking their weed and stuff and acting like they're so righteous.
They got bobos. That's a good car. They got bobos.
Volkswagens.
Oh, okay. Volkswagen. No, that's different. I thought you said bobo.
It started with a V.
Oh, it starts with a V. You're not sure. Listen, they're hillbillies.
Okay,
Accept it.
so
They're
you want to interrupt me in the middle of I'll stop. All right. The West Coast is not. I mean, listen.
West
the
Coast
South,
is another bunch of hillbillies.
You want to talk. You want to talk about who controlled, the slaves. It was Democrats the whole time. Okay,
No
and people
kidding.
want to say, "Oh, they switched parties." No, that did not happen. Okay, the Dixiecrats remained in power. Maybe one or two switched. Here's what
Dixiecrats were
happened.
in power for a long time. Masters of slaves. Slave
Finish.
masters.
Let me finish. You guys got to talk. I gave you the floor the whole time.
Yes, Madam Chief.
Now listen. Okay, now people don't like to say this, but it's just a fact. Okay, people don't like truths, but the fact of the matter is that what happened is that in the 1960s, when MLK was advocating in the sit-ins and everything, JFK came along and supported his platform, and they made a bond. And MLK said, let's have you and all of your followers support the Democratic Party, and I will reward you guys with that. And there was a massive switch. You can go to the Martin Luther King, his memorial that his daughter maintains. And there's a letter that I read from a grandmother, an African-American grandmother, and I can't remember her name right now. I posted this on my social media like 10 years ago when I first discovered it. She was saying to Martin Luther King Jr., please do not get everybody to join the Democratic Party. Please don't have him do that. They're only going to disappoint them in the long run. This is not my words. This is a grandmother who was concerned about her children in the future. Okay, and what we have seen is there's been a massive deception by the Democratic Party, because the switch that actually took place was that African Americans in the South switched parties, not the other way around. So
you know when that happened?
Whoa. Then there's the carpetbaggers from the North, the Yankees that we learned about in 6th grade here when I was in Texas. Okay, in public school, they taught us about carpetbaggers. Carpetbaggers came down after the Civil War, and they all came from the North to the South. They were Republicans. So that was the other switch that took place, is that people who were migrating from the North to the South, who were Republicans, came down, they migrated down. So there was a massive switch from African Americans joining the Democrat Party, switching from Republicans. It was the African Americans, not the white Dixiecrats, switching to Republicans. And who took up that big void? Who filled the void? It was mainly people from the North of all different backgrounds migrating down. That's what the major switch was, and I figured it out. Nobody else. You will never hear anybody else talking about this. I'm the only one who figured it out.
Okay, let me tell you the truth in that. Let me tell you the truth about that.
And it's true, and nobody wants to say it. My husband said, don't go online. Don't go telling people that. People will only get mad that you say that.
Okay, here's some truth with that. First of all, it was LBJ who gave 2 Democratic seats for the switch to give the African American a black caucus. Okay, that's why they went Democrat. That's why, and that happened after Kennedy, because there
No,
was a separate. No, let me finish. Let me
no,
finish. This is history. Quiet. I'm
I'm not
talking.
going to stand.
Quiet.
No,
Okay.
we researched the Republicans.
LBJ.
Democrats. They
LBJ
did
made a
not
deal.
They
LBJ made a deal with the
They
car
want
union,
to.
the automobile union. You are
You.
wrong. The automobile union went
Dan,
and told MLK,
we
you got to
researched.
get it. MLK made a deal because the automobiles union went for the South because the Georgia was going to leave. The other states left, but Georgia stayed. It's wrong. You don't know. You listen to me. It changed. That's why the '64 civil rights came, because he got on page with it. LBJ. This is history. This is not
We
a.
researched it. We looked at the histories of the Dixiecrats from the South,
know about
and
the
none of them
Dixiecrats.
switched
We know
except
about
one
them.
or two.
Right, but it's not limited to what you say, because MLK went, the guy from the union came to him and said, listen, you got to do this or we're going to back out. You got to get the
The
people.
KKK was run by Democrats, and they did not switch.
That. We know that. But listen, when it came down to the brass nuts, right? The brass nuts, LBJ got behind Martin Luther King. If Martin Luther King, if he put more, they only allowed 2 black delegates in the '64 election. Only 2. You understand? And they didn't want any. That's why the South, some of the South left, but Georgia stayed, because Georgia was led by the automobile union. And he made a deal because LBJ told him, oh, get behind this. So he told him straight on Martin Luther King, and then they came together because it was good to do the Civil Rights Act. It was good. It was a good move. But politics perverted a lot of things. But everybody's about business. Martin Luther King's mission, he ate a little shit too. That's the facts. Those are the facts. I know these stories from other people, back early Democrats like my dad. These things are facts. My father met MLK. Okay? But like everybody other human.
Americans down. That's
What?
the line, and nobody wants to admit it. And it's time for them to wake up and see that the Democrats are not fulfilling their promises
The
to them.
Democrats were bad. The Democrats wanted to keep slavery. The Democrats
I
were
know.
bad. Martin Luther King was a Republican. Martin Luther King was a Republican. Do you know here in Florida that we have a Martin Luther King Day parade?
JFK, and they got everybody to switch, and then they killed them. They killed MLK and they killed JFK. They killed them. That's what they got after they got everybody.
They killed Malcolm X too. Listen, these were good people. They're no different than me. My cause is the same as theirs. It's just for a different group. It's for the same freedom and liberties that we're entitled. The difference.
Hey, what about that? They killed our leaders.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding.
Be part
They
of
did it in front of your face and then said you can't hear about it for 75 years. And that's that. Wasn't that the first sign that you had no power?
On free speech on the social media is the only place you can go and have, you could have a dialogue. And now
this is the group you want to get in touch with. Look at, because your case is here in Florida now, this is the group you want to be in touch with now. These guys, a New York firefighter has got this group now. He said, Darren, we'll get behind you. And it's over. They're in Tallahassee too. They're all over Florida. Citizens Alliance.
A lot of your rednecks and hillbillies are not Democrats.
No,
okay?
They're not.
And so if you want to isolate them and make them feel like shit.
Isolate anybody who's not on page with the freedom of Americans.
They're part of your audience and they serve our country as well.
We got to fight off anybody who's not in line with American values. Freedom, liberty, property, rights, civil liberties. The right to be whatever you are, as long as you don't cause harm or infringement to anybody.
I have a right to decide whether I want to put a shot that I don't know what's in it because that's secret ingredients in my arm. I have that right, and I cannot have that right unless I invoke it. I have to invoke my right to bodily alternatives.
And how do we do that? And how do we invoke our right?
Let me read it to everybody to remind them that it says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. I have a religious belief that
Article 1. That's Article 1.
Good immune system, and he's going to protect me. If he wants to take me out, then I'm done.
Take you out, Shannon. He wants to do it.
To take me out, that's my time. My time's up. I believe in God. Okay, God has endowed me All right, listen, prohibiting the free exercise thereof. If you force me to take a shot when I believe that God's going to protect me, you are prohibiting me from the free exercise of my belief. And if I have to be forced to put a mask on my face when I believe that I should be breathing God's air that God made and is better than the air in that mask that the man made, then that's an infringement on my religious belief. And if I have to cover my face, which if you can see my face right now, you can see on my face the expression thereof.
That's right. And if I was hearing impaired, and if I was hearing impaired, and if I was
cover,
if I was hearing impaired and I was reliant on your facial expressions and mouth movements, I would need to see them to understand.
I met a wonderful man yesterday, African American at Goodwill, and I came up to him and I said, ask him a question about a price on a shoe, and he says, I can't talk, I'm hearing impaired. And I said, I can, and I started to tell him I can speak a little bit, but not much. And so he came back to me several times and we were talking and everything. He did not have a mask on. You know what? It's the same way with a shot. Some people like myself have had adverse reactions to shots. And it is not up to the government to be my doctor and to dictate to me without knowing me or my history and my medical history, what medicines to put into my body. And there's no
medical rule,
and they have no liability over those shots, and they don't have to tell us what's in them.
Get ready to close this show. Let me give you this. There is a medical rule on the Supreme Court, and I'm going to give it to you now. I'm going to educate you again. And that law is called Shishler v. Heckler. That was a 1986 rule that the Supreme Court decided to give the treating physician rule authority. That means that when an opposing doctor, for the purpose of determining a condition, it is not determined by the adversary doctor, but by your doctor, and he carries the great weight. Ba-ba! There's your rule. You see, a skilled advocate knows that, and that is the treating physician rule of 1986.
And they are not allowed to abridge my freedom of speech or the press.
First Amendment, that's right.
I would like to I publish my opinions on social media, and they.
But we know that. They censored them. We know that. That's been happening to me. They cut 4,500 people.
They want to say we're a private company, but they take our public funds, and then we give to the government.
And in the spirit of a loving, caring show, and Shannon giving her wild side as we saw again.
Send the government for redress of grievances. Again, that's the end of the First Amendment. Okay, it's all right there. Everything that we need is right there. If they're actively infringing upon for everyone.
So here's how we combat.
In the name of safety.
And here's how we will combat the medical rule. When you get to it in your case, I will give you the key words because you're a non-skilled citizen when it comes to your civil rights. So the Master Chief of all disability rights gave you the key one to oppose their doctors. And it is the treating physician rule of 1986, used against the government entity known as Social Security, saying the Social Security doctor who had a right to confirm your condition, although they violate the rules by not having your medical when they assess you, to follow that rule, that's how they violate the rule. You got to watch what government does, entities. But the treating rule on the Supreme Court, Shishler v. Heckler, giving your doctor controlling say-so, unopposable. You see, you have to take another law that's applicable to the circumstance. And Social Security was used in disability, in a right to say, my doctor has a right to oppose your medical condition. The Supreme Court said in 10 minutes, there's no way the expert doctor outside can assess such of the intricacies of that patient. The treating physician carries the weight. If the treating physician says it is, and that's all there is to it. together with clinical evidence, it makes it rock solid.
He's throwing all of that out the window thanks to pandemic.
No.
Yeah, we have.
Don't mix up medicine with civil right. The medical protection is there. You can't get rid of medical protection. It's used for a disabled person.
But they have.
No, they did not.
They're actively doing.
These morons that are fighting this case are not fighting it appropriately. They're not addressing it. They're overskilled attorneys that are not looking.
If you go on an airplane, then they won't let you fly unless you follow their medical mandates, like the doctor.
I know, and I do it. I pull it down. Know what I do? I have something constantly. Know how I defeat that?
You do. You get to
Let me show you how I defeat it.
Fly. I get to fly.
Let me show you how I defeat it. Don't be angry because I'm flying. Don't be angry because I'm flying. Don't be mad because I'm beautiful. Don't listen. I take that back. Listen. No, yes, it is. It's fine.
Not a laughing matter. It is not. It's our freedom.
Okay, I'm not going to take it. I promise you, they're not going to take it. It's an obstacle, yes, but calm down, Madam Chief. Look at, know what I do when I'm on the plane? I go like this. Could I have 2 drinks? Yeah, make it a double. And then I go like that. Okay, now I don't have to have it. Look. You're not listening. And then I put the mask down. And you know what I do? I have a constant flow of something coming so I can keep drinking.
You can't get a drink anymore?
Oh, no, but what airline you fly? I go Delta.
About unruly passengers.
No.
3,000 out of 4,000 of which are protesting the mask mandate.
Shannon, you got to stop generalizing everybody. Not every airline does the same thing. I fly on Delta. I go in Delta Comfort.
Yes, they do, because they're under Biden's executive emergency order.
Biden. I don't care about that asshole. He's
That's
not my
what they're
president.
doing. That is what they're actually doing.
It's illegitimate. There was no proof that he won. There was none. It's illegitimate.
It doesn't matter.
My race was corrupt, so was his. Okay, I was at 18%, and they threw out the ballots.
You're mad at Biden, but the airlines are doing this, and I think that.
And we're going to stop them with it's the argument that's got to be told right. You have to argue it under law, not under theory, not under speculation, but factual law.
Under
the medical.
Medical device that is approved for emergency use only.
There is no law.
You have the right to refuse it. You have the option to refuse a mask because it is actually an EUA, emergency use authorized medical device.
We know that.
The option to refuse it. That's legal. That's a fact.
There is no executive order that supersedes your health. That if it's put in jeopardy, there is no rule.
Yeah. There's
no executive order that can overrule your right.
In the courts, Darren, people are suing for their rights in the courts.
And they don't know how to do it. There's a lot of morons out there that
know what's going on.
Shell of the civil rights. Yes, it is. Stupid is as stupid does. If you don't argue it right, you're ruining it for everybody else.
No.
Yes. I've been doing this for 37 years. And I bring in the argument.
The judges are violating our rights by not having a liberal construction. They're ignoring that, and they're basically ruling.
I said this, and I'm fighting, but it's in my argument now. But the appellate court says until this changes, the reason the appellate court stopped is because the chief judge stepped in and said, after Mr. Aquino does this complaint, you will accommodate.
So what do we do?
You have to listen. Imagine if you weren't talking while I was talking, you'd hear it.
The Constitution. They throw out the Constitution. They've effectively done that. And nobody is standing
up. And now I'm effectively fighting them. You read the report it's sent to you. Read what I said on my battle back. Read what I said. John, you got it too. Read what I said. I don't take shit from nobody. No judge, no illegitimate president, not a congressman who's sitting in the office without an election, who took my seat. Yeah.
I challenge you to get onto the airplane without a mask and fly there with no mask on the whole way. Do it.
Well, if they answer me now,
I want to see the proof that you made a difference.
Okay. Oh, so like I've made other changes, you want me to make it again? All right.
Of you going on, I want you to buy a ticket. I want you to go there without a mask on. I want you to attempt to board an airline Anyone that you think Delta's good, you go on Delta. Let's see it.
Delta is
Darren.
ready when I am. Just so you know it.
Prove it to me.
You want me to prove it?
Yes.
Okay, watch what I do. But remember, only the chief gets to do this.
So all the talk is great, but I want to see the action.
You're going to see the action because you see, in the middle of my case, in the injunctive relief, I need one of the things I told the judge is I want 24-hour, 50 state gun carry. I'm not asking.
Even Clarence Thomas is denying our rights. Clarence Thomas.
Fuck him too. You understand? If they're not for us, they're against us, and they gotta go. They gotta go. We gotta show them the door. Oh, you mean the guy that molested his employee? That beautiful woman? The one that raped her, kind of, sort of? That guy? They're all degenerates. Don't you understand? They talk about, listen to me.
Prove that. I don't think they ever proved that.
Nobody ever proved it. Because she like, no, here's what they proved. She proved that she had a price to be paid off. That's what she proved. She took money, just like Monica Skansky.
What's going on right now with Cuomo? People saying Cuomo is that whole thing's going on with him, right?
You think he's doing, know what he's doing? He's going through his checkbook right now. And they're all going to go, okay.
Confirming the obvious. You're only
look, they're going to listen to charges, and he's going to come up with a bigger, that 10 million he made from his book, he's going to be dishing it out. The 10 million he made from the book, he's going to be dishing it out.
We're being ruled by people who want to suffocate us and put their knees on our necks.
And they want to rape you.
Say, hotbox us, and we can say, I can't breathe, all over the place. That's the theme here. We can't breathe. They want to suffocate all of us and shut us down. Right, Dougie? Right, Dougie?
I don't know what to do anymore. I'm dying. I'm laughing so much. I'm laughing
Shannon,
so
they heard
hard.
you on the radio, just so you know. They heard your argument on the radio.
Doug,
you were on the radio?
Yeah. We keep on going in and out, but yes, we were.
And I'll say that masks are unsafe. There's lots and lots and lots of evidence.
There is challenges with the mask, I will say that, but I will say this. When I go to New York on the 24th, I'm getting on the plane. It said, Shannon says I'm not to wear this.
You're going to get on with
Take
the
my
mask.
mask off. I'm going to take off my mask. It said, Shannon said so. How about that?
You videotape it. You videotape the whole thing. I challenge you.
I'm going to sit on the plane. And I'm going to be like this. While I'm drinking my drink, I'm going to be sitting there with my mask down like this going, how about now, Madam Chief? Excuse me, I'll have another.
Darren, I'm going to send you a cake.
Watch.
I would not want to be picking you up from the airport. That's all I got to say.
I'll have somebody coming to get me. One of my guys coming to get me.
You would be 8 seats to the wind.
The only thing I'm
2,
trying to get now
3,
quickly is the gun permit to go to New York. That's what I'm looking for quickly, because after this judge, and I put Alphonse in her on, he's going to be trying to get me. So I want to be ready to get him when he comes. I want to be just as ready for the old drunk. That old drunken bastard. Okay? Alphonse D'Amato. Fuck you. You know?
It is now time that we bring this wonderful show to a close.
Yeah, to a close. Thank you. I'm happy to be here with everybody. I just want to say, God bless everybody, and let us be mindful of the families that are still struggling with the loss of their loved ones as we get into this holiday. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. That's why I'm talking about the veterans, talking about the ones who went and gave the full measure of dedication, even in these recent days after we've been fighting this war on terror for 20 years. We lost good men and women, young men and women, just like our both hero veterans here who gave their all in service to country. We are so grateful. Let us be mindful of those families and the victims every year as they recognize. I don't like to say celebrate. It's not a day of celebration. It's the 20th anniversary of horror in America. And I want to be mindful, and may God continue to bless those families and comfort them through every single day
that they need is comfort. May we come together as a nation and wake up as the American people and see things for what they are and act accordingly and take the appropriate necessary steps to take our country back, to bring total true equality to each and every one of us, to remove every barrier that tries to divide us and use our common sense because we are the most sensible people in the world. We have done so much for so many. It's time to pick up the gauntlet and take it back again. That's what I'm hoping and praying for each and every one of us. I love this country, and I don't have a problem. We'll put my life on the line for it, for the good of it, for the future of my grandchildren, and for all of us here. I'm Darren Aquino. I am the National Chief Advocate for Disabled. Johnny Pizza's my co-host and part creator with the show with me. And then we have our additional contributors and supporters and co-people to the show. Everybody here, everybody matters here. All lives matter. We'll listen to you if you got a story to tell. If you're an African American facing challenge, come on up. We want to listen. You know, if we can be supportive to whatever challenge you're facing, we're here. You know, just remember, we don't threaten anybody here. You have the right to yell. If you're heated from it, we'll hear you. Okay, you have the right to agree to disagree, and we welcome that. We welcome that. None of our opinions are the show's opinions or that of Triple Vibes. These are our personal rights and freedoms that on Code Wind Talk you get to express, no matter what your background. Okay. Hey, listen, we're going to have some people from other countries come on and tell us the challenges they're facing. It's going to show you that we are just all humanity. We're mankind. We all have a common goal to live our lives free, don't interfere, you know, just live free, be happy, and get along. Get along. Understand that we all are different but the same, and we all have equal rights. And that applies to everybody. So I wanted to remind you of the lastgoodbye-book.com for all of you veterans or non-veterans who want to support veterans. I want you to go to lastgoodbye-book.com, see the story. I'm in it.
And thank you for your service to every veteran out there who's
Yes.
watching.
So we want you to go there, and then we could also go to codewindtalk.com. We can go to CV19 mag.com, and you can see more. We're supposed to be cleaning that up. Well, as soon as we get Ruben back, that should have been done already. It hasn't been done, and people, so you can
Gotta
see
sign
all of
off.
these.
Love you guys.
Okay, we'll see you, Shannon. I'll talk with you later. Send me that copy. Bye.
You remind me later, okay? All
I
right.
will.
Love you
I
guys.
love you.
Love you too.
So, everybody,
Bye, Dougie.
until
Bye,
until
Johnny.
next time,
Bye,
I'm Darren Aquino, John Frantangelo, and Dougie Fresh. We'll see you next time on Cold Wind Talk.
Yes, this is DJ Dougie Press. I'm here with John Frantangelo, Darren Aquino, and Shannon Sela on Code Wind Talk. You wanted to say one more thing, John? Come on up.
No, just want to wish everybody, good, best of all this trying times we're going through. God bless everyone. Love you guys. Bye. Thanks for tuning in.
See you.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you everyone for coming. I'm sorry that the show had to be cut into two pieces. It was just because there was some kind of drag on the internet, but you got to see part 1 and part 2 of the show, and we can't wait to see you. See you next week.
Bye, Doug.